And welcome back to the 2018 BCUSU students' elections here for 2018 at the City South campus here in the lounge facility. Okay, so the next two candidates we've got here are for the role of disabled students officer, Harriet Frayling and Sarah Prophet. And they'll be here to answer any questions via our Facebook Live page of Birmingham City University Students' Union. And of course, you can tweet anything into @BCUSU, #LeadBCUSU. Okay, so we're going to start off, as ever, with the two candidates today pitching themselves over 60 seconds to do with their manifesto. So, Harriet, if you could start us off, please.
Hi, I'm Harriet, and I'm delighted to be a candidate for Disabled Students Officer. I feel like you should vote for me because I'm just like every disabled student. I have neurological disabilities, mental health problems, and physical disability. So I've experienced the best and the worst that the university has to offer in terms of what it's like being a disabled student. I currently am a student ambassador for my school at the NTI. I'm a student academic leader, so I help represent my class. And I've also been championing ideas already at student advisory panels that benefit disabled students. I'm the interim president of BCU Enable, so I have a lot of contact time with disabled students. And I also work with the BCU Stamp Project as a disability employment mentor.
Harriet, thank you very much. And yourself, please, Sarah.
Hi, my name's Sarah Prophet, and I'm running for Disabled Student Officer. I believe you should vote for me because I feel I'm the best candidate. I have strong leadership skills, I'm determined, and I'm passionate about empowering people whose voices have been muted through no fault of their own. When elected, I want to empower students by creating a community and peer support network throughout all the campuses on the university, as at the moment I feel a lot of support services are based at Curzon, and for our students who are based elsewhere, we don't get that service. I also want to help work with the Disability Student Support Service and the Career Service to create a tailored package for each student with a disability to help them transition from university to in the workplace. As someone who has been in the workplace, I've experienced firsthand how difficult it is to get a job, and it's vital when we're in a safe environment to give students those skills necessary to go to employees who says, yes, I'm a value member, employ me.
Thank you very much there, Sarah. Okay, so on to the first question we have for the two of you today. It says, how will you create a sense of community for disabled students? I guess following on from your two manifestos there. Start with Harriet, please.
I'd like to provide a drop-in service as a disabled students officer, somewhere where students with disabilities can come on a weekly basis and just drop in and be able to communicate any issues that they're having that are uniquely affecting them. I'd like to have more awareness campaigns to help a wider student body understand and accept the needs and the differences and difficulties disabled students face.
Harriet, thank you very much. And yourself, please, Sarah.
I think it's going to be a multi-stage approach. I think we need to target students when they first arrive to BCU, because when you arrive, it's daunting. I know the transition from secondary school, where you're supported, to university, where you've got to start doing yourself everything, fill out the forms, meet people. It can be really stressful, and I think Welcome Week and that first month at university is a good point where we target students saying, here we are, come join us as a community. We have gone through what you've gone, and we can share your experiences. And for the students that are already in the university, we need to reach out to them. We need to say, here I am, the disabled student officer. I'm here to support you, and want to signpost you to the services, make you aware. I've been here a year and a half. I've only just started to learn what services are available because no one's bothered to come and tell me. No one's publicised it. I saw a message on Twitter and it's like, why haven't you told me this? I am a student, a part of this community. It's not there. We need to be out there. I need to go to each campus and meet each person individually. When I joined my health faculty, they arranged this like a meeting where we all came together. We met the disability support team. We met the campus person who was in charge of looking after us and introduced us. This is something I want to take around to every campus, to every facility, to say, here we are. This is what we do. Come be part of us, because without you, we are nothing.
Thank you very much there, Sarah. Okay, so on to the next question then. Again, following on from that very nicely, if you like. Says, what barriers do disabled students face at BCU? If we could continue with yourself, please, Sarah.
Me personally, one of my disabilities is being dyslexic. I don't see why lecturers feel the need to comment on the fact that I can't spell. I get it all the time. I get feedback. You've lost marks. You've been penalised because you can't spell. Hello, I'm disabled. It's not appropriate to comment on this. And this is down to the lack of awareness on people's behalf. What is disabilities? And this is what we need to promote. We need to say to people, this is what our disabilities are. This is how it affects us. Just be considerate. And in this campus here, we have quite a few people with mobility problems. And one of the major issues, when people go to 145, they stand in the foyer, it's completely crowded. If you can't see, and there's hundreds of people milling around looking at their phones, not paying attention, and it is so noisy, it is hard to move around. And people are just not aware of their surroundings. And we need to make people aware that you might be standing there making noise, but there are other people around you trying to get about, and they can't. And that's the lack of empathy, because we're not, as a community, good at telling people what our experiences are, and we need to do that.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. And to yourself, please, Harriet.
Can you repeat the question?
I can indeed. Yes, it says, what barriers do disabled students face at BCU?
There's a lot, really. BCU does a really great job with the enablement team in supporting disabled students, but there are students who slip through the cracks. There's difficulties in navigating, like even with the Curzon building extension, trying to get into a lift. If you have a physical disability, you have to wait for the next one, because no one will think, that disabled person can't go up the stairs, I should get out and let them use the lift. There's issues with support statements. I've had a lot of people come to me and tell me there's difficulties in getting their tutors to understand their support statements and what's in them and what that means and what they're entitled to in their support statements. There's a lack of understanding about how to signpost students who may be suffering from a learning disability or a learning difficulty, like dyslexia or dyspraxia or ADHD, in knowing the signs of what those things could be and signposting them to the right places so they can get diagnosis, which also has a cost barrier because it costs money to get assessed. And if you're a mature student, that cost increases because the university doesn't always pay it. So there's a lot of a different range of access barriers that students face with disabilities.
Okay, there's a number of issues touched on there by both our candidates. Okay, so do we have any questions from our studio audience, please? Okay, can we go to the gentleman there? So again, yes. And could we have a microphone, please, for the gentleman on the end there, please? That's better, yeah.
This year's Disabled Students Officer has worked really well with other officers and other minority groups. How do you plan on doing this?
Okay, to yourself, please, Sarah.
I think the student voice, they have an important part to get the message. They have the resources already in place through the SAL team, through their mentoring, to actually reach communities. And I think we need to provide further training to help them to understand what disabled students are going through so they can better support them. And we need to work with them to build this, and we need to recruit people who are from the community themselves to stand up and say, look, here I am, willing to talk about it and be out there. But I also think we need to work with the sports societies and help develop access. Everyone's disability is the same. Our baselines are not the same. To have one policy is not appropriate. What we need to do is work with them to help them understand how they can help people. And I think there are organisations out there that we can signpost with them and to help develop them. And because, believe it or not, when you enter the workplace, you're going to come across people with disabilities. And if we can give people those skills to understand how to work with them, it's going to make them employable, and it's going to help the people with disabilities to be part and inclusion.
Thank you very much. And yes, on to yourself then, please, Harriet.
So you have to repeat the question.
Okay, of course I can.
Short-term memory, I'm
Okay,
afraid.
would you be able to repeat the question for me, sir?
Sorry.
Thanks.
So this year, the Disabled Students Office has done a really great job on collaborating with other officers and other minority groups. So how do you plan on doing this?
Intersectionality within disability is actually something I find quite important. There are marginalised groups even within the disability minority of people that face additional difficulties, such as international students who come from countries where disability isn't a consideration. And it's really important to highlight their difficulties that are in addition to also being disabled. I think that's something to work for, to work with the other officers in campaigning the rights of those students as well.
Thank you very much. Okay, so just moving on now to the next question we've had here that's come through. It says, well, how will you balance this role? Again, it's a similar question to before. How will you balance this role against the rigours of your own studies? And if you could answer that one for me, please, Sarah.
At the moment, I'm part of the SAL team. I do physiology workshops. I help mentor students. And I'm part of society, but I'm also a military student, so I'm working still full time. And I just love it. Our motto is to challenge ourselves, to push ourselves beyond what we're capable. And I believe this is something I can take on board and I can excel. It's like time. This is time to enjoy ourselves, to experience, to be part of something. And I think it's something I would relish.
Thank you very much. Okay then, so just going to see if we have any further tweets that have come in. And you can, of course, keep us updated, please, at BCUSU. And for further details as well, you can just log in, or further questions, I should say, please log into our Birmingham City University Students' Union live Facebook stream, which we are hearing at the moment. Okay, so do we have any further questions from our studio audience? The gentleman there, just over on the side there, please, if you may.
So how do you wish to help perhaps students who have children with disability themselves and they're a mature student, or lecturers that are also parents and have students with disabilities, or any student who may have a relative that they have to care for who are dependent on that student? How do you go about supporting them and making sure that they're just as supported as a student with a disability?
Okay, and have that question, please, to Harriet.
I think it's really important to understand the role that carers play in disability and their role in this sort of thing. Carers who go to university are juggling two separate lives. They're going home and they're looking after somebody, and they're also juggling university. And I do think it is important when we raise awareness for disabled students, we also raise awareness for those who are caring for them. For example, in my own situation, I have a complex set of disabilities, and I genuinely wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my partner and my support system. It's really important to give them the support they need. So it would be good to set up, for example, workshops or carer sessions so that they can sit and they can talk about the difficulties that they face and have other people where they're, it can be really difficult. It can be difficult to look after a disabled person and feel like your feelings are valid, because they can often seem not outshone, but outbalanced by the needs of the disabled person. So I think it is really important to have something set up so that they can talk about that with each other.
Have a good infrastructure in place then, by the sounds of it. Yes. Okay, and then on to yourself, please, Sarah. Do you want the gentleman to repeat the question for you? Okay, could we just have the microphone again for the man in the audience there, please? Thanks.
So how do you wish to support mature students who have children with a disability, or lecturers who have children with a disability, or any student who has someone depending on them? How would you go about supporting them?
Having met a lot of carers who look after people with disability, because as an adult nurse, we do meet people, and from talking to them, I've understood it's the isolation of being the carer, of supporting these people, and we need to make sure that they don't feel alone, and we can do that by linking them with other people in the same situation to say, look, you are not alone. There are people experiencing and going through what you are going. It's not isolated. And I think as a university, we need to recognise the achievement these people have done, because they're amazing, because it's hard enough to study when you're single and you're young and you haven't got anything wrong. Then to support someone else through the process, and I think we need to recognise their achievement and to praise them, really. And we need to and just bring them together, I think.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And thanks for the question there, sir. Okay, just going to see if we have anything else that's come in on our Facebook stream. Doesn't appear to be anything at the moment, but we had something that came in earlier on, actually. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Again, touched on so many issues there, today, and so many, some very, very key factors. If there was one which you had to say, a question which you have to ask here, it says, if elected, which one more than, would there be one thing you would like to achieve in your year if you were elected? Obviously, you've highlighted many things, but if there was one thing you would like to achieve in your year, what would that be? If we could start off then, please, with Harriet.
I think one of the biggest issues and something that I'd really like to focus on sorting out if I was elected would be communication. The communication between the student, the BCUSU, the student, the faculty that the student's studying at. Improving that communication, improving awareness of what is available to disabled students that they can access. One of the amount of things, as my co-candidate said, it's difficult. You don't find out that there's something available to you until 18 months into your course, when you could have done with it 12 months ago. So I do want to improve the communication between the different organisations and different people involved in a student's life so that they can access the information that's needed to have a good education and have a good time at university.
So would you say providing sort of better access points then, perhaps, is the sort of main thing you'd like to...
Ideally, there'd be a central location where disabled students can access all the information they need. I don't know if anybody's tried to navigate iCity without a disability, but it's awful. So having a central location that a disabled student can say, okay, I need support with money, okay, I need support with social, I need support with this, that they can go to it and they've got links and they've got contact this person, or you can drop your name down and we'll get in touch with you, because obviously you get students with anxiety who can't always contact. Providing multiple avenues that they can get in touch, I think that would help. Okay,
so at no point would they ever feel they're unable to sort of speak about things, or for whatever reason not be able to access things, if they need to. Okay, well, that's very good. And finally then, if we could just, same question there to yourself, please, Sarah.
I like to empower students. I'm here today because people invested their time, gave me the skills and the learning and understanding of how my disability affects me and how I could overcome it. And I think that's something throughout the whole year I would like to achieve. I want to give people the skills themselves to be able to go out into the world, to employment, to say, do you know what, so what, I'm disabled. This is what I have achieved. I want to give them that sense, that confidence, that belonging to be able to stand up on their own.
That's absolutely fantastic. Thanks very much for that. And so it's given everyone that ability then to sort of really feel a lot more confidence in themselves. That's okay. That's the end of the questions then we've had now, unless we have anything further to add from our studio audience. Okay, no, that's all of it. Okay, well, can we just say then, please, a very special thank you to Harriet Frayling and Sarah Prophet for answering the questions from you all today, hoping to sort of be elected for the Disabled Students Officer. And also thank you to all 7 of the candidates who've attended today for the Vice President Student Experience, the Women's Officer, Disabled Students Officer, and also, one of the candidates who wasn't able to attend today, and the one for the Ethnic Minority Students Officer, who was not here as well. Okay, you can find out more about their manifestos on bcusu.com. And, of course, if there's anything you're not happy with from any of the candidates today, you can, of course, vote for Ron, as mentioned earlier on, to reopen the nominations. And as for voting, well, it's open on Friday from 10 till 4 at the Margaret Street, Jewellery School, City North and Birmingham Conservatoire campuses. Then online voting opens from everyone as from midnight on Saturday the 3rd of March. Okay, thanks you for joining us, and a very good day to you all.